Almost beat 831. That close. Almost got it.
We are live. Looks like we've already got some people in the chat tonight. We've got Dave, Basement Aquatics, TJ Autocross. Good to see you. Master Aquatics, aka Eduardo. Good to see you again.
Hello,
And
Eduardo.
let's see. Darlene's Tanks. Good to see you again as well. Thanks for joining us. And I believe, we've got John with Select Pet. And I believe, and the
Waving at
Zen
us.
Ginger, our mod that we greatly appreciate that does all the stuff
Yes.
that we don't know how to do. So,
Not
stream
at
would not
all.
happen without our mods.
I mean, it might happen, but it would be pure chaos. No doubt it would be chaos.
Yes, it would not be as refined as it may be. Can we call it refined?
Not yet. Not yet. No. The Zen Ginger definitely brings a little bit of, um, I don't know, maybe some refinement to it. Just a little bit. It's like, oh, well, at least they got the Zen Ginger.
The touch of refinement. We've
A
got
touch.
Muppet929 lurking while eating a late dinner. I have not eaten dinner yet. That's something I should probably do after this.
Yeah, I barely scarfed down a piece of uh, leftover pizza before we got started. It was a late night. I was back in the office for the first time in a couple of weeks, and so I was there late. Zen Ginger, I've never been accused of being the one to make things refined. Well, you've been accused now.
We've got Bobby from Michigan, I believe, and Scotty the Fish Freak. Good to see you again,
Hey,
Scotty.
Scotty. I was on Scotty's live stream this past weekend on Saturday with him and Skipper, and we had a good time talking about clubs.
A lot of club talk these days.
Yeah, it's good. You know, that's one of the things that I'm sorry, I'm making. I've got, oh, gotta get around my mic. I got some tea action going on here. I'm trying to get it steeped so that I can keep this voice going. Hey, we didn't say hello to all of you on the replay. Those of you who have come and are watching this as a video, and you've got like an hour and let's just be honest, 12 minutes to go on this. Thank you for checking it out and listening. I hope you are enjoying your water change because if you're like me, that's what you're doing while you're listening to live streams. But thank you. Thank you for checking out. Thank you for everyone who's in the chat. It's always fun to come on and to find people are already here. And we wanted to try and be here as early as possible since I was incredibly late last week. You all are the best.
We've got Geek Boy with us tonight as well. Good to see you again.
Yeah, what's up, Geek Boy? I see you a lot over on the fishfam.link Discord. Is that what we call it? The Fishfam Discord? I I think so. I know it's the Fishfam Discord. That is true. Did some water changes and a tad more today. Well, you just got past Ian, right? Aren't you in Florida in the area that got hit? I think I've seen that you are okay in your home, but probably a lot of cleanup going on.
Yeah, I did.
Vinotsky, I'm sure I got that wrong. Vinotsky is here.
I snuck in some water changes and fed some fry as soon as I got home. So that was got a lot of stuff going on in the tanks right now, which is a good thing, but also a lot to do.
Okay, so the Zen Ginger put the fish cord server. So that's what we're calling it, the fish cord server. I will
I
try to call
like
it that
that.
from now on. Eduardo says, oh, here, I'm going to put it up the screen. Lots of devastation around us here, but we are all good. That's great. It's good to hear that you all are good. I saw some footage from around there, and I know people who live in Central Florida, so they weren't hit by it that hard. But always, anytime one of these storms, one of these hurricanes are getting close and headed that way, I always check in with him and his family, and he's always like, "Dude, it's Florida." He's like, "I'm used to this." Because he's lived there most of his life. I think he moved there from Mississippi when he was young. Regina Phalanges is here, says hi. Hello, Regina.
Mountain greenery. is in the chat. Welcome. Thanks for
Saying
joining.
hello to everyone. Let's see. Did this thing load? I was last minute trying to get this to load. Oh, it did. There we go.
Awesome.
Good. Good. So, oh, I don't like that. It covers up my title. That doesn't work. Oh, not that either.
There we go.
There we go. We'll go with that. I can always just make it the whole screen. But then people are like, are there people here? People, redundant. So tonight's going to be a fun night. Thank you for coming by. Thank you, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. Finally went over 250 subscribers. It's been very quick, but that 250, I was eyeing it. I was like, that's my next milestone. And as I've said on here before, that 500 is my milestone because I like the community aspect of this, and I want that community tab so that I can post when we can't come on or something. Not just that, obviously I want to talk with you about other stuff, and also to be able to poll and to get ideas for live streams. I think that will be awesome. So that 500 is always kind of in the back of my mind that that's where I want to get for that reason. And then also you've got 250, like I said, was like a midpoint milestone. I've hit it before, but before we had a live stream, I fell back off because something happens and I lose a bunch. So that's what happens. That's how it works. I'm looking. So we're talking about Select Pets asking about the Keystone Clash next year. I know a lot of people are already on Scotty about when we're going to have it. And he's got a rough date that it should be still working on the contract. So I see that in here too. Hey, that scape looks familiar. John thinks he's seen that before.
I believe he has.
It's possible. Definitely possible. He's not a slacker like me. He got to see it in person. Well, yeah, this is going to be a little bit different from what we've done so far, which is great because we're a new channel. We can do different things, right? That's what I keep saying. One of these days I'll quit saying that. But we're just going to have a conversation with each other, but also with the chat about starting a new fish club. And that's because we've recently gone through that. Tanner was in Nashville. They had the very first meeting for the Music City Aquarium Society this past weekend. And that's where this scape came from that we're using in the thumbnail. And that's why John has seen it, because John was there and I was not. So I missed out. But there was a lot of people there. And we wanted to take this live stream to talk about maybe we can answer some questions that people in the chat would have about starting a club. Maybe those on the replay, maybe you've got questions and you want to put it in the comments. We would love to answer those. But we want to talk about that, just kind of our experience and what we've gone through. I think things aren't necessarily always the same, regardless of who you are or where you are. I think there's little things that make everything a little bit different. Music City is not going to be a copy of ETAA. You guys are already doing things your own way, and that's awesome. And it's the same with ETA. We're not a copy of whatever clubs John was has worked on. I don't remember which ones. There's a ton of them. He's like involved in every club in the east of the Mississippi, I believe. And so that's what I hear. But we can talk from our experiences, and we definitely wanted to take time to talk about the Music City Aquarium Society and what you guys have going on. We've talked about it on this live stream just about every episode because it's something that's a really big part of your hobby, Tanner.
Yeah, it's certainly. I guess we made the Facebook page a couple months back, and it's definitely starting to take off. I'm really, really excited for it. Our first meeting, which was last Saturday, was, I think, a pretty good success. We had just about 17, maybe 18 people come out, so I was very a little shocked with that. I was not expecting that many, but it was definitely welcome.
Yeah, the ETAA's first meeting. It's funny. It's not funny. I was disappointed then. I'm still disappointed. TJ says, John missing the first meeting is like being fashionably late. Mitch is cool like that. Not only that, I didn't make it to the ETAA's first meeting.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I was sick or if one of my kids were sick, but we were not able to come. It was still kind of, I mean, COVID's still a thing, right? But at that time, everybody was being much more cautious than it appears we're being now. And someone in my family had a fever, so I was like, I can't make it. It's last minute. I'm not going to be there. So yeah, fashionably late. That's me. Miss all the first meetings, but that's okay. You guys got through the rough one, and I get to come sometime and enjoy one of the smooth ones.
I was pretty pleased that it went definitely a lot better than I was expecting. It was a great time. We had a really good group of people come out that were interested, and we had some fantastic conversations going that I was not expecting, everybody just to fall in and start talking about everything in the first meeting. So that was definitely an awesome experience.
I wanted to take just a moment to pause, and I scrolled up too far, so now I'm trying to get back down real quick while I'm talking, just using up time because the chat's really long. Alishon is here. Hello, Alishon, and also Craig's Catfish Cave, or Craig with Craig's Catfish Cave is here. And yeah, so thank you all for being here as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does go a lot smoother than you think because here's the thing, and I think I told you this. Nobody else knows what to expect with the first club meeting. So all of your plans, yeah, they're all going to fall apart and nothing's going to be what you expect, but nobody knows. So you just
Right.
have fun with it. But I mean, it sounded like y'all had a great time. I enjoyed seeing the pictures as they come up. I happened to be on Scotty's live stream while you guys, I guess it was right after you guys got done and the pictures were coming up. And Scotty was telling me about the pictures that he was seeing. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that yet. And I think you had messaged me, and I was like, I'm going to message him back when we get done. But it was really cool to see that take place. When the ETAA started, I was
Mhm.
kind of on the outside when it started because I wasn't able to be there, and so the same thing was happening. But I guess it was April was our swap, so it might. I guess it was the March meeting was my first meeting I got to go to because I also missed the February meeting. They almost kicked me off the board. They should have. I think somebody actually had COVID that time, I believe. But yeah, so we missed, or I missed those two, and I hated that, but that's just what happened. There was no work around it. But I kind of feeling that again, going through it again with you because I planned on being there. I told you I
Mhm.
was going to try to be there, and I wanted to. But yeah, glad you guys had a great time. Glad you had so many show up. I know that was one of the things when I was messaging the guys after the ETAA's first meeting. I was like, how'd it go? What happened? How was the presentation?
Mhm.
How many people were there? That it's just fun, and the communities, man, the communities want fish clubs.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something that was definitely, we went around at the beginning of the meeting and, just kind of had an open discussion as, introduce yourself. What do you want from this club
Hmm.
type of ordeal? What fish do you keep? And we just had a huge variety of, you know, uh, people keeping different things. But the one thing that almost every person said was they wanted community, which
Hmm.
that's what, the goal of the club is to build a community and just be a bunch of fish nerds talking about fish. Um, and yet, John says here, I do my best to help MCAS make money at the auction by bidding up stuff Tanner wants. John
Yeah, I
and
was
I,
going to put that up there.
John and I got into a little bidding war over some Swasser Tang. Um,
Oh, that's worth it.
it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good sized bag. I ended up feeling bad, and I split it with him. Probably shouldn't have. No, I'm kidding. But it was definitely cool. People brought some. I ended up with my first ever killifish.
Oh, nice.
And well, actually, let me say killifish eggs.
Eggs.
So
Okay.
I came home with that, and that's a whole new. I've never kept those before, so I'm
So
like
you came
learning
home
on the
and messaged
fly.
Cassandra. Cassandra.
Message Cassandra, and then I got them from Sarah, who has definitely been.
Yeah.
She's one of the other, I guess, founding members of the club. Who she's been a massive help. We got Silver Creek Aquatics. Hey, hey. Hope you're doing well. So I've been messaging them, being like, "Hey, what do I need to do?" So I'm already set for what I'm already starting new live food cultures, I guess. So
Yeah.
this is a whole. I've already from one meeting, I've already grown my hobby, which is, I mean, I think pretty cool.
That's how it was. Absolutely for me with the ETAA. That first meeting, that March meeting was fun. And then I had a month to go and I was like, I can't wait a month. It's going to be a whole month before we do something else. We need to have like weekly meetings, which, we don't need to have weekly meetings, but I was ready to go. And that's when I made the decision that I was going to do this YouTube thing and get more involved in the online community with YouTube and start a YouTube channel. So that's when I did it. And then our April meeting came around. Actually, April wasn't a meeting; it was the swap, and that was just so much fun, like unbelievably fun.
Mhm,
I was in my element. That's what I enjoy. I love stuff like that. And then the next week was Aquaticon. So
mhm,
coming off of April, I was just ready to go. That May meeting came, and it was we were going, we were soaring. It was
mhm.
awesome.
I think
Um,
that period I came back to Knoxville almost
yep,
every single weekend, and it was a whirlwind. It was a blast. The swap. Speaking of the swap, those black Venezuelan quarries I
yeah,
got at the swap last spring as juveniles had their first spawn.
that's
So I've
awesome.
I've got them in a little egg tumbler right now. Had some losses because the tumbler tipped over in the tank and
Ah,
some
that's
fish
all
got
right.
in there. But I've
You'll
still
get
got a
it.
good bit.
Okay.
So
I see all things fish. Hey, Mitch, looks like you're doing great things, hoping for the best, and I'm eagerly waiting to follow your progress and success. Thank you, all things fish. That's
yeah.
that's great of you to say. You know, and I said this on Scotty's stream. The community here just blows me away because when
Mm,
when I did decide to start the YouTube channel, I really kind of struggled with it. Like I wanted to be involved, I wanted to do things, but at the same time, even with almost 10 years of experience in the hobby, there's still a lot for me to learn. And I felt like, what do I have to offer? Like if I do a channel, all right, if I do something, it's got to have a purpose. I can't just do something. There's got to be a
mm,
purpose to it. And so for me, my purpose is to reach out to those that were like me, who were struggling in the beginning, who were having a hard time. And one of the number one things I can tell you to do is to find a local club, and not just
mm,
a local club, because I say that and I know some of you all have had that experience where you showed up and it was the same five people that meet every month and they don't talk to you, they not willing to do anything or go grab a cup of coffee or whatever, and it's just awkward. And I know you all, some of you have had that experience, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying force your way into that, but find a community. And so that's kind of what I want to offer and want to encourage. So thank you. I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone who comes out and listens to me ramble on and Tanner just say just exceptional, amazing, profound things about the hobby that I'm just here in awe. I'm like, I'm just the pretty face and he's all the knowledge, which isn't true either. But it's a lot of fun to get on here and do this. I've said I'll enjoy the live streams, and it's because of everyone who comes out. And you know, I want to get better at interacting with the chat. That's one of the things I feel like I
yeah.
struggle with the most is staying. I get done with these live streams, I'm like, oh, I didn't talk about that. Oh, I didn't put that one up. We could have talked to that person. And, we want to make sure we do that. We're learning. What we got here? Oh, I double scrolled and lost you, John. I
John
cannot
says,
enter. No, that's
can't wait
okay. We can
another
move on.
month. Join 7 clubs.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And we've
Let's
also
see.
got only Oscars in the chat. Thanks for joining. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Um, so Mitch, you're promising to make the November meeting then. I'm not promising yet. I've not looked at my calendar yet for November.
Mitch is a busy man. He's got to check his calendar.
It's true. It's the kids. It's not me. The kids
Oh
are
yeah,
busy.
no, I
Yeah,
understand. It's a decent little haul to Nashville.
yeah. I'd be there if I could, and I will. Um, All things fish. SCA loved your video about where the hobby is going. Really got the old wheels turning. That's awesome. Silver Creek says people need community. It is the way. It is. It absolutely
Yes.
is. And the online community is great. Having the online community is a great thing. It definitely supported me in my hobby, and I learned a lot through the online community. But there's just something about meeting with other fish nerds.
Mhm.
I know all the people that all the people that were at the Keystone Clash a little 2 weeks ago, I guess. Um, they all had that experience where they all got to just hang out and have a good time together. And they're like, when can we do this again? We got to do this again immediately. That's what it's like when you have a fun fish club, when you've got a good group of
Mhm.
people that you can get together with. It's like that. And yeah. So, and you talk to them all week, every week.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to several people from the club today. Of course, some of that had to do with the swap, working on some things for the swap, but yeah, it's a great time. Um, Scotty says, that's what I was looking for. I'm not good at finding stuff in the chat once it passes. It is hard to do that. I wish there was a quick train that could bring me to Tennessee, no changeover, and in like one day. Yeah, Pennsylvania to Tennessee, I'm sure that's a little bit of a haul.
That
I
is
look
a
forward to
haul.
visiting, so yeah.
It was funny. So at the meeting, Kane, the ETAA president, I believe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he came. He messaged me that morning. He said, "Hey, it's it's at 2 Central, right?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And he's like, and then so I talked to him about it because that's something I always struggle with coming back to Knoxville. I'm like, okay, it's an hour later there. I got to get here at this time to be at the
Yeah.
the meeting or whatever. And then John also said that the time swap change messed him up. And then
Yeah.
it was it was a great treat to see Ed. I did not know he was coming. Always good to see him. Chattanooga Ed. And he came in at like 35, 40 minutes behind, and he was like, the time change got me.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, I deal a lot with that with my job, so it's one of those things. And we've traveled. We used to come to Nashville very frequently, so I am used to that. I should have reminded them actually. But yeah, Scotty, one of these days you'll have to come to Tennessee and
Mhm. I think we may have lost Mitch. The old internet issues. But yeah, Scotty, you'll definitely have to come to Tennessee sometimes. I believe what Mitch was saying. I hope I'm not the one that got lost, but I'll just go through the chat a little bit more. We got Tennessee Fish Keeper. Thanks for joining us again. And Master Aquatics, Eduardo says that I believe his little sister got a tank. Was it at the Clash? But that is awesome. Yeah, first tank at the Clash with a Dragon Betta. That's awesome. One of my favorite things is always seeing people get their first tanks and just the excitement that stems from that because it reminds me of whenever I first got my own tank. We have definitely lost Mitch. John said I had trouble with the time. Oh, chat is moving. He had trouble with the time. He was arriving an hour early, but stopped to pass time and was almost late. Yeah, you ended up getting that little specimen tank, is what we called it. That'll be awesome for some fish shows. When y'all have time on the thumbnail, you definitely need to put Eastern time. I believe Mitch for the streams puts it in Eastern because he's in Knoxville. Because the stream starts 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. And we've got Mitch back.
I don't know. That's getting frustrating. Uh, yeah, thankfully when I was on Scotty's stream, it did not happen to me at all. So apparently Tuesday nights are busier than Saturday nights. So I don't know what I missed. Sorry, everyone. I have contacted them about this and tried to fix it. Not to mention my camera's a little off now. But yeah, we'll see. I'll give them another call tomorrow, I guess.
Okay,
What were
I
we
see
on?
what you're saying, Darlene. That does make sense. She was saying to put 8:30 Eastern on the thumbnails, just so people
Oh, for
know.
us?
Yes,
Yeah, I can do that. I thought I was doing that.
I can't remember.
Yeah. No, I'm probably not. I'm probably thinking of something for the ETAA that I put because I usually put it on there. So I'll do that so that everyone knows. Thank you for that suggestion. Uh, Eduardo says 45 plus years as a fish keeper, and I'm learning every day. Yeah, that's it.
That's
Base,
the really cool thing about the aquarium hobby is there's always something to learn. It's like you will
yeah,
never know everything. I mean, even with just the most, you know, call it mundane species or common species that people keep, you're still learning stuff about that, and that's just incredible.
yeah. So Basement Aquatics, Dave says maybe I need to focus my channel on us old folk aquarists, the senior channel, free tapioca pudding and shuffleboard. Hey, you know what? I promise you, there's a group of people that would love that. I actually would probably be there too.
I I'd probably watch it. Some of my favorite videos to watch, there's a guy named, I think his name is Dave Ramsey, and he's not the Dave Ramsey, the finance
Not the money
guy.
guy, not the
He's
finance
Dave
guy.
Ramsey, the live food culture guy. And
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
he does some fantastic videos, but they crack me up. But that's where I've learned to do a lot, on the fly. I learned how to do some cultures. I just started
Yeah,
my first paramecium culture, so that's fun.
I've watched some of his videos because I was like double checking myself on stuff.
Mhm.
Eduardo says one thing I will always support is the YouTube auction at Skipper's channel. I've not made it to one of those auctions. I need to check that out. I hear about them a lot. Regina Flange says, I'm super stoked my friends haven't kept fish for 25 plus years and now they're excited to start up another aquarium. That is fun. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So, all things fish, thankfully, we have an overall positive and productive online community. Some online communities for various interests can be pretty rough, and it's true. I've been involved in online communities since college, and I've experienced some that were rough, and you just have to get out of those. You don't need that toxic stuff. But
Yes.
this one's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of interesting. Some of the more niche hobby groups can definitely be very unwelcoming to
Hmm.
newcomers, which that's something, especially with aquariums, the whole, in my mind, the point of it is to get people interested in nature. Why would you want, I would never want to discourage someone from finding you literally are bringing nature into your home. There's,
Yeah.
in my mind, nothing better than that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had an experience this week. I think it was in a guppy group, where someone was asking a question about filtration, and they were like, "Why are you all always hating on hob filters, hang on the back filters?" Um, and I mean, it was a really good question, and I was like, "Why would they?" Oh, it's obvious. They all have huge fish rooms, and they're expensive. So I was like, "It's probably there's nothing wrong with hang on the back filters." I mean, if someone were to walk up and give me an Aquaclear 110, yes, I'll take it, right? But if you've got a fish room and you've got a ton of tanks, it can get real expensive to put those on all those tanks. So I feel like that's probably the easiest answer is just the cost associated
Mhm.
with having that many. And a sponge filter is like, you buy one really large air pump and a bunch of $6 filters and you're ready to go. I guess you're
Oh
also
yeah.
having to buy some air stones and line too, but
Definitely one of the most effective ways if you're setting up a fish room is just sponge filters. That's how I would do it. My
yeah.
dream fish room
Tennessee,
would be sponge filters and a auto water change system.
yeah. One of these days, right? Tennessee Fish Keepers here. Welcome.
We've got Mark
John said,
Sterlson as well.
Oh, I didn't see Mark yet.
He
I'm way
just
behind
joined.
still. I've not gotten down there yet. John said I had trouble with the time. I was arriving an hour early, but stopped to pass time and was almost late. That's how that works, for sure. Oh, I'm to the point where I froze. Basement Aquatic says Mitch's kids wanted to watch Frozen. All right. Apparently, I freeze at good poses. I'll have to go back and watch the replay and see. Silver Creek Aquatics. Let's see. Trying to catch up. If you put time on a thumbnail, time zone, viewer clarity. Yes, we'll do it. Tennessee Fish Keeper. Living in Tennessee is great, but some parts of our state, the internet is not that great. It's true. I know I've got family members that have had problems. I have never had issues until 2 weeks ago, and it just stops and then comes back on, and then of course the router has to redo everything in order to get it with the Wi-Fi broadcasting again. So I might, if I were to hardwire to that, I probably would miss some of that time, the waiting. But yeah, they're supposed to be working on it. I actually have talked to several people in the area who are experiencing it as well, because I was a little worried it was me, something on my end. It is not. So only Oscar says, I have not figured out thumbnails, and that is accurate. I'm still figuring out thumbnails. I actually play around with what I put on my thumbnails a little bit to see if it changes anything with how that video performs or whatever. I think all that's fun, that nerdy stuff. I'm one of those people that on the TV hits the YouTube statistic button to see how a video, somebody else's video did. Let's see. We've got Paul Pierre is an incredible resource for live food culture stuff too.
I'll have to check them out.
Dave Ramsey was a speaker at the Clash a couple years ago. He's a Killy guy.
I did not realize that.
Was that a pun? An Achille guy? He also was a runner for the auction. I missed this. What is October 22nd? Next one is October 22nd.
I believe that's the Skipper's YouTube auction.
Oh, the auction. Okay,
I think.
Thank you.
I could be wrong, though.
Basement Aquatic says, I still question Tanner and Cassandra and others after 35 years in the hobby. I find that hilarious. That's great. I mean, I find it hilarious that you left me off that list. I would too. I totally would. But yeah, I message them all the time. I've spoken with Cassandra a couple of times in the last couple of weeks about cultures. I've had some issues with mine that I think are okay. All good, I believe. And then also with Tanner, I talked with Tanner about plants, and I've been trying to plan what I'm going to do this 75. I'm a planner. Like I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I start doing it, before I roll up my sleeves and get in this water. And I keep seeing the bottom of that tank bust out with all those rocks. I just can't convince myself to put them in there yet, but I'll get there. I keep looking at pictures and videos of other people's tanks to go, that looks heavier than what I'm going to do.
In my 40, I've probably got about 35, 40 pounds of rock in it.
I need to weigh these. I haven't done that.
But I'm with you. I plan until I can't plan anymore, and it gets to the point where I just have to sit. I just have to do it, or else it's not. I'm going to stay in that planning stage forever.
Yeah. Only Oscar says, I was fine with fake plants. Then I met Stephen P. 2003, and that's accurate. Yeah. Once you start to learn about the benefits of plants, once I started realizing that not only did plants look cool in my tank, but they were going to help with my tank, I was on board. And it took me several tries to find out how to actually keep them alive and not grow algae. But yeah, it's great. And there's so many great resources out there.
Mhm. And once you get into the plants, there's so many just really cool plants, and you can really, just like you can get into the specific species of, oh, I'm keeping this specific fish. I'm working on keeping, certain plants alive, getting increasing the difficulty. There's always a challenge with it, and it's really
Yeah.
cool.
All right. I finally got to where Mark showed up. Nancy B in Tennessee is here. Hello, Nancy B. And then I
Welcome, Nancy
saw
B.
Vibes Aquatics is here.
Thanks for joining us, Vibes. And we've also got Gina's Reef.
Yeah. Hey, Gina.
Welcome. Thanks for
Zen
joining
Ginger.
us.
I hope that's accurate. She says that maybe they're adding fiber and that's what's causing it. That would be awesome. At first, I thought you were commenting on my diet, and I was like, "How did you know I'm trying to increase fiber?" But then I realized that you're talking about the internet. Silver Creek says Stephen P knows more about plants than I know about myself. I'm sure that's accurate too. I don't know you well enough, Silver Creek Aquatics, to say that that's true, but I know that Stephen P knows a lot about plants.
He definitely knows his plants. I saw JT somewhere in the chat. Can't find where, but welcome, JT. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, JT and I are trying to get ready for this swap coming up this weekend.
That's something I really wish I could make, and I'm pretty disappointed about it. But there's always the
You're
next
just getting
one.
me back, right?
I got some real good stuff with the swap last year, but also it might be a good thing because I don't know if I have room for anything else. I'm like
Yeah,
maxed out right now until I get these tanks set up.
yeah. No, I can understand that. All right, so the meeting. Back to the meeting.
Yes.
So this was your all's first meeting. You've been planning it for
Mhm.
several months,
Mhm.
working on it. You were surprised by the guests, which I thought was awesome. I actually knew about some of those who were coming, and I didn't say anything to you because, I mean, one, if something happened, they couldn't make it.
Right.
but two, I knew you'd be surprised, and so I was excited when you were like, "And Chattanooga Ed made it." So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think I'd seen Ed since Aquaticon.
oh, okay,
So it had been a while, and it was just really good to see him. He's always just uh, brings a great energy to everything.
yeah.
He's one of the guys that definitely makes keeping fish fun.
Yes,
So that was great.
every time I see him walk through the door at the ETAA meeting, it just brings a smile to my face, and I get excited, and I yell at
Mhm.
him and talk with him. I just he's always fun to have a conversation with, and he's just such a great person in
Mhm.
general. A lot of fun to be around. JT says, "There's JT. He finally showed up." Not that you weren't here. We were looking for you because someone said hello. I see lots of space behind you, brother. Time to go up.
Yeah, so actually on the wall across from me behind the screen, I've got some room to the right,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be setting up a couple 10 gallons and a couple 5 gallons to do some shrimp and then raise out. I've got a lot of fry and stuff to grow out right now, so I'm pretty excited about that. Gonna probably try and start breeding some rainbow fish as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't decided. I mean, one, I got to get to the point where I have the 20 gallons up first, right? I can't really
Right.
plan too far ahead. But at the same time, I know I want to do stuff different. Like I already got the Blue Dream shrimp because I want to put them in one of the 20s. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking I'll do probably some different shrimp in each one. I plan on the current plan, and this keeps changing. The current plan is 4 tier, the bottom one being a quarantine tank. And because you can't see it, if I put something on the bottom, you're not going to see what's down there, right?
Mhm.
So it's the quarantine tank, it's the ugly tank, and then there'll be three above that. And so I've got three tanks to play around with, and I want to do something different in each of them. Like not wildly different, obviously, because they're right next to each other, but species wise different.
It would be cool. I don't know if you've looked into it at all, but keeping some shell dwellers, like some of the
Yeah,
multifasciatus. Those
yeah.
are.
Kane raises those.
I've always wanted to keep those, but I just haven't made the leap yet. I'm
Kane
still
brought
working on
those.
my. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Kane brought those to the last meeting and we gave them away.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, they were the profile fish.
We did for the back to the first meeting. We did one of well, I did the profile fish, so I chose a scarlet batis um, because the meeting's presentation I did similar to the ETAA meeting that I did with Sean. I set up a planted aquarium, did a 10-gallon
Mm-hmm.
tank, scaped it, planted it, and then we did a raffle giveaway for it. So that was awesome. Um, but I wanted to do a highlight a species that I thought could do well in that tank. So that was a lot of fun. I was surprised that many people came out to listen to me talk.
Yeah, I've not had to do a presentation, and I don't know that there's anything that I have experience with enough to do one. But yeah, I can't imagine the weight of that. It being the first meeting, we at least got somebody out, from outside the board. None of us were willing to do it. Which Richard, why? Do you know
Mhm.
Richard? He did
Yes.
an
Yeah.
amazing job. That video's out there on YouTube from the ETAA, and that first meeting, the presentation was on taking pictures of your fish with what you have, and just phenomenal job. It was great.
Yeah. He takes some incredible photographs of fish, coral
Yeah,
tanks. I think he does, general photography as well, and he does a
he does. Hmm.
fantastic job. But so that was really cool. We had, I think I said we had 17 or 18 people. We started the meeting around 2:15. I don't think I left till almost 6.
Yeah,
So it was just time flew by.
yeah.
It was great talking with everybody, and we did. At the end, we actually had an auction to where you could bring fish, plants, anything aquarium related, and we bid on it. So that's where I came away with the killifish eggs, which was very cool.
Hmm.
I think that yeah, I came away with the subswasser tang or suswasser tang. I don't know which one's
Yeah,
the
something
correct
like that.
way.
I'm with you.
But so
I've
it was
wanted
cool.
some of that for the longest time. I've never seen it in Knoxville.
I had it about a year and a half ago, and for whatever reason, I got rid of it. I sold all of it or traded it or something, and
Yeah.
I hadn't been able to ever find it since. So when I saw it, I was like, I'm getting that. And that was where John almost broke my wallet trying to outbid me. What was funny was is I was standing back in the back and he didn't know who he was bidding against until it was over. So that was pretty funny.
Huh. I just realized that this keeps that and I don't have to reload it. I thought I had to reload it. I did not realize that when I clicked on it, it was automatically going to come on the screen, though. So I apologize there. Still learning. Nancy B says, I wish I could have made it to the meeting this weekend, but works, bills, blah. Yeah, that's that's it. I mean, it's like trying to make it to Nashville and all of that. It's definitely the case where it gets in the way a lot. So, but that's okay. This is a new regular thing in Nashville, so
Mhm.
you'll make it. You'll make it to something.
Yeah, we're planning on having monthly meetings. I believe next month we meet the first Saturday of every month at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Hmm.
And next month, Sarah is going to be speaking on native killifish. I
Oh, that's
believe
cool.
she said she's actually going to have some from Florida.
Okay.
So she's going to be doing, U.S. native killies.
Yeah,
I,
that's cool. Oh, so Wasser tank is growing, and my tank came with moss. Came with moss. That's nice.
that is nice because it's pretty pricey for a little cup of it. It's normally $10 or $15.
Yeah, and it grows slow, which is why,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, it's
It
slower
grows
than
super
moss.
slow. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Geek Boy's got some too. Dumped 2 quarts into a scud bucket. That's
I li-
awesome.
I like it because it's very good. Just like moss, it's very good for fry. And right now I've got it in a breeder box with my celestial pearl danios. I'm trying to hopefully get to spawn eventually.
Yeah. So I see Regina Flanges is getting into a saltwater tank. It looks like, funny thing is, the tank started out as freshwater, then brackish. Didn't take long to go full reef. I think that's great. That's a lot of fun.
I definitely want to set up a reef tank eventually.
You
Once I have
know,
some more space.
yeah, I'm not against it, and I don't think it's as difficult as a lot of people try to make it out to be. I mean, I know it's different than freshwater, but with JT's recent presentation that he did
Mhm.
at the club, I was like, oh, I could do that if I wanted to, and maybe one of these days.
Yeah, I definitely, I want to have a bunch of corals because it's just one step up from plants, and they're
Yeah,
very cool.
Zen Ginger's Sawasser grows better than my moss. That's good. I've heard it's a slow grower, but some mosses are slower than others.
Hmm.
Um, I saw that. I think it was the Garden of Eden had selling their moss, and I was like, "Ooh, that's tempting."
If I had room, I would have bought it, but I was like, where
Yeah.
am I going to put these plants?
Yep.
I'm already throwing, throwing trimmings in buckets and trying, just leaving them.
Yeah, and I'll have to look it up. I know so Christmas moss, Java moss, and flame moss. Those three, I like them, but I think it was the flame moss is the one that kind of stands up, right?
Yeah, it'll grow like the tendrils, kind
Yeah,
of.
it'll
And I
stick up.
think, like all the moss, the more you trim it, the more compact it'll grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I took the scissors to my Java moss the other day trying to promote it. It's like, here, grow. Oh, the Zen Ginger says, I have an issue with moss. It always gets hair algae. I'm a chronic overfeeder. Aren't we all?
Hmm.
I'm not happy with this camera. It's not getting exactly where I want it tonight. But oh well, we'll work on it some other time. So, how do you feel now that the first meeting is over? You've gotten the first one out of the way, you've experienced it. You kind
Hmm.
of, next time you meet, you're going to see some familiar faces, hopefully. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling very optimistic about it. We had a great group of people come out, had some people drive, several hours.
Yeah.
One group of people came from the Alabama border, and I was like, for the
Oh,
first
wow.
meeting you drove, just on a whim, I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, that
Um,
is cool.
Met some awesome people in the area that I had no clue that kept fish. I would have never met them if we hadn't had the club meeting. So really excited about that. I think we found some people to line up and speak at future meetings that are really
Awesome.
knowledgeable about some different aspects of the hobby. So I'm definitely feeling really optimistic. The only thing I'm a little nervous about is we might need to find a new meeting location soon because we might
Yeah.
be maxing ours out, which I was not expecting.
Yeah. Which I was going to say earlier, you were talking about how late you were there. It's great that you're in a location where you can stay late. There's
Hmm.
nobody needing you to leave. And that's probably one of the few downsides that we have to our location is that there are people who are waiting for us to leave so they can go home
Right.
on Saturdays. So at least I think they're getting ready to go home. It's about 6 o'clock. I know they are because I've seen them go to their car while we're still in the parking lot shooting the bull.
But so that, yeah,
But
definitely feeling really optimistic about it. I'm really excited. I think we're going to get some, we're going to do our monthly meetings. We're hopefully going to have some swaps,
yeah,
every now and again, maybe a spring and a fall swap. Um, so definitely just had a really good turnout and met some really cool people that I'm excited to get to know better and learn from them. Already learned a whole lot from that first meeting, and it was definitely really, really cool.
yeah. Yeah, one thing I'm not afraid to say it. One of the things that I hope happens in the future is that Music City and East Tennessee Aquatic Association have some sort of combined swap or event together. I think that would be a lot of fun. We might include some other groups in the area. Conversations have already started, just kind of exploring ideas and stuff. I
Mhm.
think that would be an amazing time. Um, to be able to get a few groups together. But yeah, the swaps are amazing. I'm very much looking forward to this weekend. Also worried about what, we're almost there, and it's just like all these people are going to be there to buy and sell, and facilitating that, and just the various things that are happening that might get in the way. Trying to deal with that is just like, oh man, this week's going to fly by, and I don't want it to. But at the same time, I can't wait. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, that'll be definitely exciting. I hope there's definitely going to be a good turnout. Without, I mean, the first swap had a great turnout. Um, so I'm really well. We lost Mitch once again. We hadn't looked at the comments for a minute, so I'm gonna go, or the chat. I'm gonna go through this for a second. Looks like we're talking about tanks, salt water. We've got ABC Aquatic Biotope Creations in the chat saying, "What's up, Fish Fam? Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well tonight." I'm curious, how many of you all that are watching us are a part of a local club or travel for a club? Because I know that's definitely the club has been, between the East Tennessee Aquatic Association and the club that we've started in Nashville, it's definitely been a major part of my hobby. And it's just great trying to build that community and meet other, you know, aquarists. Mitch has definitely got to get that internet fixed.
All right.
There he is.
So frustrating. So frustrating. All right.
So Dave says, while you were gone, I asked how many people were, had a local club or traveled for a club. Um, let's see. Dave with Basement Aquatics says the ETAA is his first after all these years. Well, I'm glad that you have joined. It's been great. I know I don't believe we've ever actually met, but it's been great talking to you, and hopefully we'll meet sometime soon. Um, Eduardo says, besides YouTube tube clubs online, I am a part of one here in Fort Myers, but they suck. Well, I hate that because
Yeah.
the club has just been fantastic for me, and I know that there are quite a few clubs out there that aren't optimal in how they operate, and a lot of them kind of fizzle out. So I'm really hoping to prevent that with the Music City Club. Mark Sturleson said clubs are few and far apart in. I lost the comment.
Yeah, it's scrolling for
In
me too.
this country. Yeah, I know there's a websites and resources you can use to look up clubs, but there's really not. We don't have enough.
No, there's not. And that was one of the things that I ran into, about 3 years ago. I was wanting to find a club, and I was absolutely just looking to find a club to get involved in, just a
Mhm.
place to visit and hang out. And I couldn't find one, and I was just shocked because Knoxville. I mean, I realize we're a metro city and we're very spread out, but still pretty good sized city. And I was like, surely Knoxville has an aquarium club. We have the aquarium off of I-40. Like people know, there's got to be a club. But yeah, it was crazy, and I was very surprised to learn that we did not have one, and so we had to make one, and it's been a lot of fun. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Definitely worth it, and I would recommend. I wish there was more resources. I know Aquarium Co-op has a finder, a
Mhm.
search tool for local clubs, but I don't know how often they update that. I've submitted the ETAA a lot. So hopefully we end up on there at some point.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to say that I do it weekly, but I've done it quite a bit.
All Things Fish says the furthest they have traveled for a regular monthly meeting was Tucson to Phoenix, and Tucson itself had one club. Phoenix had several. Yeah, I know Sarah Walker that's helped found the Music City Club. She's lived in Phoenix, I believe Phoenix for a while, and she said that's really where she got into clubs. So that's good that y'all have several clubs there in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Darlene's Tank says, no club where I live. What swap are y'all talking about?
Well, I am glad you asked, Darlene. Oh, that's the wrong one. I wanted this one. This is the swap we're talking about. So in Knoxville, this Saturday is the ETAA's Fall Fish Swap. It's in Fountain City, Tennessee, which is just north of Knoxville. It's very, very close. And we will be there from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time, since that's not on there. And it's just a lot of fun. We have JT's still here. I think we have somewhere around 18 tables currently, I believe. And I don't know if that includes the one that I was able to get today. We actually, I got to thinking, I was like, what's something we could do different? House plants. We have a ton of people in the hobby that also keep house plants. So I found a local person who sells house plants, and I was like, hey, here's what we're doing. Would you like to come out and give it a try? And they said yes. So we're going to have someone set up with house plants. Oh wow, 21 tables.
That is awesome.
So it is $2 to get in the door, and then there's all kinds of craziness to be had, all kinds of fun. Darlene's off work, so maybe make sure you let me know who you are. I'll probably be working the door and the silent auction. We are doing a silent auction to support the club, and that will be. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also like, how am I going to take care of that in the door? We'll see.
Then Nancy B in Tennessee says, I'm Nashville-ish, so MCAS is the closest to me. Saturdays off are few and far between. I'm
Yeah,
on the club's Facebook, though. Awesome. Well, I hate that Saturdays off are few and far between, but I hope you get to come to a meeting sometime.
yeah.
It would be great to see you there. Then All Things Fish says, why do so many aquarium clubs call themselves societies? I don't really know, but I will say that we chose our name based off of availability and
Yeah,
trying to avoid past clubs naming to help with, cut out confusion.
yeah, yeah. And when the ETAA was formed, I actually had a Facebook group called the East Tennessee Aquarium Association, and so I was like, oh, okay, it's still the ETAA, the group that I'm going to be involved in now. But it's one of those things because we did talk about a few names, not a lot. There was a little bit of discussion of the names, but everybody liked East Tennessee. No, actually, we talked anyway. We talked about some names, but the name was already selected before we met because it was already a group, and I love it. We chose association because that's what we are. Society is the same thing, but it's just trying to figure out. The lights are going off on my tank. I need to set that a little bit later. It's messing with my lighting. But yeah, it's trying to figure out something that's not already been used or isn't already existing. Um, and just trying to work with it. And I see Chattanooga Ed is here in the chat. Welcome, Ed.
Awesome. Welcome, Ed. Thanks for coming to the meeting Saturday. I really appreciated that. It was good to see you.
Yeah, the ETAA, East Tennessee Aquatic Association is a mouthful. So just calling it ETAA is nice. You do have to kind of think about, do these letters, are they easy to say together if I want to shorten it? But, it's fun. It's all in fun.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like MCAS. It's fairly
Yeah.
easy to say. That was something, we actually polled. I think we polled the name on I was pretty dead set on the Music City. at least the first part, and we pulled a couple different options, and
Yeah,
that one was the general consensus. So
I
we
voted
went
on
with
that.
it. I voted on it.
I loved it. As soon as because we were talking about different names, I was like, Music City's perfect. So Darlene asked, "Is there an address?" Yes. If one of the mods could, the ETAA, the Facebook group, we have an event, the East Tennessee Aquatic Association Fall Fish Swap. I don't know if I can. I should be able to share this, right? It's my stream. Facebook won't let me copy it.
It is, well, if someone
Oh,
can
there it is.
type this into the chat after I say
Yes,
it, it is 5345 North Broadway Street.
there you go.
I know that's a little convoluted to have to say it, but
Yeah, and so it's adjacent to a park. Like the building is in a park, and it's the Lions Club building. It was a great location last time. But I'll get you that, Darlene. Do you if you want to look up the East Tennessee Aquatic Association on Facebook, we try to keep all of our events on there. Zen Ginger's got a link there to the ETAA on Facebook for you, and it should show up. Should be under some of the pinned stuff. I see Sarah Walker's here. And it was nice
awesome.
to meet
Thanks for
you.
joining, Sarah. Sarah is one of the founding members of the Music City Aquarium Society. Um, she's the one I got the killifish eggs from and who I've been bugging about how to raise them. So definitely a great resource. And I am very glad to be working with her to, help create this club. She's
Mhm.
Sarah is talking at the next meeting about native killifish. So that will be definitely an awesome presentation.
Well, we've come to the end again, and I'm sure my internet's about to drop. So we ought to consider ending this thing. I'm stoked that you guys got started, that you had your first meeting, and I'm glad you guys had a good
Mhm.
turnout and a good time. And I can't wait to hear about the next meeting and events and all of that. It's so much fun. You're going to have a blast, all of you all. I'm just happy for Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville, I don't know why there was not a club. And I mean, there have been clubs attempted before that didn't quite pan out. I don't know exactly why, but
Yeah.
it's something that, I mean, Nashville's a pretty large city um, relative to, in Tennessee. So there's definitely a need for a club. We've got some
Yeah.
great stores here. Just need the one thing that's definitely lacking is the community, which hopefully we can build a good community and all share knowledge and with each other. That'll be great.
Yep. It will be. It's been great with the ETAA. The swap this weekend. If you're in the area, try to make it out. Come join us. Let me know that you watch the live stream. I'd love to talk with you,
Mhm.
and you'll have a good time. No doubt in my mind, you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to do it for this week's live stream. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for the replay crew. Thank you, Tanner. Thanks, everyone. Until next time, enjoy your tanks and stay scruffy.
Yep.